And good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Dan here with Chief Experts, and welcome to the Designer Show. I guess I should look into the camera, not at my other screen. Anyway, welcome. We're on with Kevin, John, and Mr. Rabs, the rabbit. And we're here to talk a little bit about AI and apps today. And we're here to hear what you guys are using out in the field for your business as far as apps and AI. Apps and AI. Probably write a song about that. Could probably ask AI to write a song about that, couldn't we?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought you did that once. Didn't you do that once?
Oh yeah, I did do that. That was pretty cool, actually. It's amazing what this thing can do these days. I was watching Colbert the other night, and Tom Hanks was on, and he was talking about the new movie he's got coming out. I think called Meet or Next. I forget what's a one-word movie. And he was talking in the movie. They have the younger Tom and the older Tom, and so apparently they filmed the older Tom about a year ago, and then he took the year to get skinny, and he did. Now they're filming the young Tom parts, and they use real-time AI on his face so when they're watching him perform, AI is real time making his face look younger. He was explaining how they're doing that. It's fascinating. So anyway,
I've seen a lot of those filters on the 3-second videos, TikTok or Reels on FaceTime or Facebook or whatever. But where people can do that and they amaze themselves. I think it's probably pretty depressing, really, because she.
No, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I used to look that way. Please, filter, don't ever go away.
I know. Anyway, welcome everyone. We got Paul, Chad, John, Richard, Mr. Bouquet. How you doing? Michael, Steve. Yeah, welcome you guys. Gary, Teresa. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And,
longest traveling member, Norman.
Oh yeah, the guy with the fish. I love that fish. Cool. Well, welcome, and please chime in with your questions, and they don't have to be about AI or chat. If you have a question about Chief Architect, or something else related to your design business, just feel free to put it in there. So how are you guys using AI?
Well, I think everybody knows that I use it a lot, and I use it in a text form to answer a lot of my questions, for anything from coding things to residential code things to techniques to just idea generation and verification. I use it extensively for that many times a day. It also answers a lot of questions about life, and I just throw them out there. You just have to be a little bit cautious about the answers, because you have to be constructively skeptical. You have to take right. Yeah.
Well,
you have to take a look at the answers and say, that looks pretty certain, but I've got my doubts. And so I was thinking today that I might talk about how I go through the verification process of that. Because a lot of stuff seems believable and it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that saying, what does that have to go? You believe everything you see on the internet, right? Oh, yep. No, that's not the right one. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. You take it all with a grain of salt, and if you believe something, research a little deeper and dig into it from different sources. So like you, Kevin, I use AI a lot for writing. I do emails, I do the specs for projects, things like that. So I'll always type up my version of what I want to say. It's like I've done my whole life. Then I'll zip over to ChatGPT, paste that text in there, and say, hey, rewrite this in my voice, because I've been using chat long enough now. So it knows kind of how I talk and that. So I say, rewrite it in my voice, make it a little shorter, or more emphasis on such and such. And it's really pretty amazing what it does. So maybe we could demonstrate that a little bit if we wanted to.
Or if you just want to be thoroughly entertained, you can write anything you want to and tell it to now tell me that as Elmer Fudd, and it will.
Yeah, it's a fun search engine. I mean, yeah, like you did that once before. You were talking about Elmer Fudd. That was really cute how that came out. but it really makes for a great search engine. I've been using it a lot in some projects that, what's the maximum span I can have on a 18-inch floor truss, for example, and I'll ask it that, in a residential situation. And it'll give me different variances on that. So it becomes a really good tool. And I encourage designers, especially designers that don't know structural all that well, to use it and say, hey, I'm designing this room addition and I got it, 18 by 16 floor, and how big should my floor joist be in this room? That kind of thing. If you're not sure about that kind of information,
and I agree with you that I use it for all of those things. But on the other hand, I also don't want to be held liable for something that it told me that wasn't true. So this kind of an interesting segue into what I was saying, which is that you need to verify the results. I do ask it a lot of questions, code related, structural, whatever. I ask it a lot of those questions, but I also want it to verify those. So sometimes you need to point it at a source that you know is trustworthy, because if you think about it, it's just going out and finding every bit of information that it can, and deciding what of that information is relevant to your question and answering that question. But if there's 10 million pieces of information about that, and it needs to give you 3 bullet points back, you can imagine it's not going to go through all 10 million of those. So there's a certain weighting to the results that come back to you, and that forces a certain unintentional bias into the answer. So you could be getting answers that are based on a whole bunch of wrong answers. You could, there are things there that you need to question about that. So sometimes you can then say, use the International Residential Code 2018 to go back and prove to me that this is what the code says, and then it will do that.
Okay, Norman, what does AI say your wife is going to say? It's been a few months since I've used this program, bring it up here and show you guys. Hang on, John, can you switch to my screen?
Or
somebody.
There you go.
I got it. So this is one called AI for Spaces. And now I just opened it up again. I was going to try to throw up a quick plan, and it's like, I don't see where to upload my thing. So anyway, I used it on this one project where I was designing a second floor addition with a little front porch on the front. And I was just goofing around, just seeing what it would do. So it brought up these different ideas. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, this isn't anything like I was doing, but I was just saying, trying different styles to see what it would look like. I said, do more traditional, that kind of a deal. Let's get a little closer. This one, I don't remember what I told it to do, but no, we're not building it like that. See, I just uploaded a black and white line drawing of the front of the building that I was designing. And I said, give me some ideas on how this could look. Oops. Get back to where I was. Where'd it go? What just happened here? Here it is. And this one, a little more traditional. Again, it didn't really, I mean, it was fun to play with, but it didn't really do much for me. These are different. That's a different project. But I got some ideas. I've done it with other projects too, and I got some ideas. Here's the thing I was just trying to upload, and I just ran out of time here, so I wasn't going to mess with it during this. Anyway, let's switch back out of the StreamYard. So is anybody using apps like that out there? I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. And if you are,
Midjourney has a new retexture feature.
Midjourney, you have that open?
I do, and it's working on one right now. So
right, cool. So textures, again, for those of you, when you hear the word texture, think of photograph. Okay, a picture of some brick is a photograph. It's called a texture. They're the same thing. A picture is a texture. That's what CAD programs, it's what rendering programs call that.
So I'm in Chief right now and had this little project. I turned off plants because you don't want to see that to prep this for Midjourney. You want to get to a vector line drawing. So this would be like your PBR rendering, but I want to actually get to just a vector line drawing, which means I'm going to turn off color, I'm going to turn off shadows, and probably I'm going to turn off patterns would even be helpful. And you might even turn off like details like the gutters and
the ridge cap,
ridge trim. Yeah, exactly. The cleaner you can make this, the better results.
Rene, do you know why? See how that chimney meets the roof there?
Yeah.
It doesn't give us a line at the bottom of that chimney.
Because I don't have the roof broken around that chimney. So if it was broken around the chimney, it would show up.
Don't you think Chief would be smart enough to know that it should put a line there anyway?
Yeah, some intersection points like that. Yeah. I agree. That would be nice.
Yeah. So if you guys see that, I mean, you can fix that on the layout page if you really want to, or you could draw a CAD line there if you really wanted to. But
can't you just put a hole in the roof that's the same size as the
exactly. But I was lazy.
But again, I see that way too often in my 3D views like this, so it's a little bit annoying.
And so then I took it into Midjourney's edit mode. There's a little sidebar that's just called edit, and then in the edit section is retexture. So it prompts you to either upload an image or drop an image in from a URL, and then you can retexture in the edit mode and give it a prompt to do some things. And it's just for idea generation. To me, it's not going to get you to exactly what you want.
Right.
It's
that idea generation thing is really, really helpful.
It's creating a lot of before pictures.
Right, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, this is a rustical. Well, boy, that's a look. That's kind of cool. What's fascinating about this to me from a rendering standpoint is this is still a tool. It's not ready for prime time, but it's a tool, so I could use it. So I could grab the grass from this, for instance, and paste it into my photo editing software and have that grass in my photo editing software. And maybe that's compelling, right? Or maybe that roof actually looks correct, even though everything else doesn't. So
how do you grab components then?
I mean, that's where you need to know a photo editing software. I would have to come in here and do a screenshot and come back to my main rendering and stitch that in and put a mask on it and paint everything out that I don't want. So that would be bringing this into Photoshop and masking where we're just taking now a brush and painting out things we don't want and leaving just the grass so that we can drop some other image in here. See how quickly I can do this. My Chief is running slow today. I needed a reboot. And
Rene, have you set up a layer set for your sending to AI? Did you go through that process and answering Norman's question here?
Let me get back to the feed and figure out what we're asking. But I mean, that's kind of a real rough take on this, as I threw that grass in there. Now I have that grass in my rendering.
So then you kept your image perspective exactly the same. They need to be identical because you're going to grab the grass and there's going to be a 1-to-1 correspondence for every pixel in that image.
Yeah, and I did a screen grab of my image. So ideally, you'd want to do an export in Chief. So you'd be in the file export menu where it's file, export, picture, so that you're keeping that 1-to-1 ratio. Even when you throw it into Midjourney and save it again, now you have the exact same pixel resolution. You just get to layer them on top and take what bits you want. So that's kind of a stacked way of doing things. Mind you, Photoshop has its own built-in AI. I don't find that it's very good in most cases. I actually think Midjourney's is a lot better.
Well, a lot of the AI stuff's in its infancy, so
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, I mean, of course, I probably get, you know, a dozen emails a day for these apps that are going to, you know, make my life wonderful and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just like, get out.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's
This was the question. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Do you have
Yes.
a layer?
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
Oh, no, I don't. I probably should. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah. If you do a lot of that, why wouldn't you create a layer set for that?
Yeah.
You know, that makes sense.
So kind of
I'll
as a
tell you one more thing in Midjourney that's kind of clever is, let's say I did in fact just render in Chief only, right? So I've got I'm exporting this image in Chief, and I want to bring this into Midjourney, and so I'm going to start a new project, and I don't necessarily know how to do that. New, okay. Edit, upload image is what it gives us, and then I'm picking my screenshot in this case. So it's going to have to upload that. The edit mode is where you can actually replace parts of an image. So I can come in here and kind of knock out an area of this image and then say, you know, give me a maple tree. And this is a stacked process, so you can just keep stacking on top of this. It doesn't need to, you don't need to redo the last thing you did. You can continuously work on it getting you a good looking maple tree, but you can also then, let's switch to doing some edit on the garage or something like that. Yeah, and this is going to start building. We're at, in the top corner, it shows you, gives you 4 variations of this. And then it should show us a preview. Sit and wait. What's one of these other questions here? What is
So
a good?
while we're waiting, is there a good app to take an existing Google Street View of a client's home and convert it to a line drawing so that you could use it in an app like this?
Good app to take an existing Google Street View of a client's home and an app to simplify it to a line drawing. I don't know offhand. I mean, that's, you know, that is something I could do in Photoshop again. They have various find edges tools.
there are tools, for instance, Make It, Maket, I think, that are used to, you can import imagery and have it generate ideas and concepts around that. Similar to what Rene is doing here, possibly more beginner based, where you can hand it something and it will hand you something back. It's not intended to generate exact measurable drawings or things that you could turn in for permit or anything like that, but it's good for concepts. So there's tools like that you can take an image and feed it in. One of the things that I was going to break into when Rene was talking was just that the process can oftentimes involve many tools. There's not necessarily a tool that gets you everything that you want from start to finish. So if you said, I want to take an idea from my head and I want to generate permittable drawings from that, you know, there's a lot of tools that are in between those 2 points. And AI is catching up with those things and able to help, but you still need someone who understands it enough to walk through the different steps to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. I'm going to trail right back into this and just show you that there is not, in fact, a tree in any of these edits. And instead, it just gave me an addition on, on the back end of the house. So this is why I don't think AI is, you know, all that great. It's a tool. Sometimes it works well.
Maybe there's a maple seed in there somewhere.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that's a real creative one. It's like a solarium on top or something.
What in the word maple and tree gave it the idea to build you an addition?
I have no idea.
That's
been my experience with AI. So,
is there a way in this in Midjourney here to select a tree that you want to put in there?
Okay, so I mean that brings up a good point. Is oftentimes I can come into something like this scene and Well, you guys are testing me on the fly. Let's see how well I can do here. And I might have some PNG. Stop bugging me, Photoshop. And I might have a PNG image of a tree like this that just doesn't quite look right. That I'm overlaying onto the scene, and then
there's a way to make
and then
this
I
look
can
right.
make that a selection and try to regenerate it as a tree. And maybe it improves the shadowing and its interfacing with the rest of the shot. So that is a method, right? Is we're basically throwing in clip art. You just want your clip art to look kind of realistic in the first place, because it's good. I mean, that did an okay job in its first variation. Its other variations, putting some kind of text up in the sky.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. So
Can you show the sky replacement in this image as an example of rendering?
well, so sky replacement is, I don't know that is I guess it is AI technically. Sky replacement is a tool built into Photoshop, and you have to be in a layer where it works. Let me just stamp everything forward. This is getting to be an ugly scene. Sky replacement is built into the edit menu of Photoshop, and it allows you to take certain stock skies or anything that you've imported and just change the sky. And it oftentimes does a really good job, unless we've got kind of that bloom effect where we've got kind of a haloing effect because we've got an overexposed section. So this
Kinda
particular shot's not that
Kind of
great.
like John right now.
What's that? Yeah,
Kind of
like
like John.
John, exactly. Yeah, where he's got just a feathering edge. And I mean, you can try to fix that. I would need to fix that on the chimney in this case, but I just know because we're overexposed, I'm going to take a shot that has predominantly white clouds at the base coming into a blue sky like this one, and that works out okay. And I mean, so we stole the grass, we recreated a sky. It's not looking all that bad. And we got, a tree that's generating some kind of text.
You want to show John where to find the toggle patterns for the 3D vector
Yeah.
view?
That is in your 3D menu, and it's right here. And I mean, you just have to be in a view that allows for that. So we'd be in a vector-based view, or I think a line over. Let's see if I kick on the line over option, which also I believe is in the 3D menu under, camera view options, toggle hand drawn lines on top. So if we kick that on and it tries to generate that, toggle patterns is still grayed out. So you need to be in a view that natively supports patterns for that to work. And it's interesting that because I had toggle patterns turned off, it didn't do line over on my patterns, which I kind of like. I didn't know that worked like that. Yeah, so vector view, switch to that, and now 3D menu toggle patterns is toggleable.
Toggleable.
So I want to create an app that will bring in all of my correspondence from a client and anybody working on a particular job and sort it out and keep it in order for me. And that's the only thing I want it to do. I don't need it to do anything else. I just want it to organize all of the correspondence in the proper chronological order and per job. Is there a way to do that?
Everything
Is there an app that will help me create that?
Everything was there until you said, and keep it sorted. So when you were talking about the things you just mentioned, you don't need an app to do that. Why build an app and why maintain an app? You can just use the tools that are already there. So you can provide all of that input either in the form of a PDF or multiple PDFs or a website or any way that you want to feed it. You can cut and paste it if you want to into the prompt.
Kevin, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Well, what I'm saying, do it.
You just want to do it.
I think he was leading me to Zapier.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is that you have all of that information in those various sources. So somehow the app is not going to magically know what belongs to Smith on 37th Street. So you need to consolidate that information one way or another, right? You're going to put
Okay.
it somewhere. Now just give
Okay.
it the location of that information and tell it, now summarize this information, sort it according to whatever, provide this, put it out in a form that I love, and have it generate that. And then you can just paste it into a single document so it's all in one place, or do whatever with it you want. The sorting part has to do with wherever you paste it. It then becomes a piece of documentation that is relevant to that software. So does that software have the ability to sort, and based on what? So I do that with mine, except that then I take the information that I find categorizes that data, and I create it as a heading, and then I have it sort on the headings, and then I get everything the way I want it to be. Does that make any sense at all?
We need to get you on a screen share, my friend.
Oh,
Yeah, you get to see that stuff.
Yeah, if I was better at that.
So you're saying I have to copy and paste everything. So if I get something on a text, I have to copy and paste that into same place I'm copying and pasting an email.
Well, you have to provide a source that can be readable to whatever that software is. So if you're using ChatGPT, for instance, then ChatGPT has to be able to access that. This week, ChatGPT put out an update that it now I think it's even in the retail version, not even in the plus $20 version, that it can now seek real-time data and utilize that data in its analysis. So that used to be possible by having it chase a website or whatever else, but I now see that shows up as a part of its own internal search engine now. So, and that just came out. I haven't played with it enough to even know how deeply it can go or whether it can read chat streams.
What is that even called? Let's see, 4.0 with Canvas.
Just go to 4.0. Just go to 4.0.
Just 4.0, and that's potentially real-time data, huh?
Well, I'm looking at it. Is that your screen?
Yeah.
And have you stopped and restarted ChatGPT?
I just opened it.
Okay, so I don't see the same prompt that I get. I'm on a Mac, as you know. The prompt that I see actually has a little reference above it that says, search.
On the Mac, are you using an application?
I am sometimes yes, and sometimes no. So it happened that I was just opening the app. So let me take
the ChatGPT application looks a lot different on my phone.
I'll show my screen
and web.
If you look here, there's probably what Kevin's talking about.
Oh, there's just a little earth. There it is.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, as long as I have this open, let me show it real quick. Am I still up there?
Yeah.
I use this. I'm subscribed. Since I use chat so much, I pay the $20 a month. For me, it's well worth it. So I was just screwing around here, and I uploaded this picture. Now, I want you to understand, ChatGPT can really make you angry. So if you're easily angered, don't use this. Okay. So
even if you're not easily angered.
Yeah. So I uploaded this picture, and I said to chat, give me some ideas with light color, board and batten siding, stone on the bottom, dark shingles. I've uploaded. So of course, first thing it does is it's going to give me a list of these different ideas. Okay, that's fine. And then I said, okay, well, show me a picture of number 2. All right. And then I said, oh, okay, well, that's what it gives me. Nothing even close to my thing I uploaded. But there's some ideas in here. Well, maybe I like that color combination, or, I like the column. So sometimes I'll get little tidbits out of these pictures that are helpful. But then I said, can you do a picture based on what I uploaded? And then, of course, it gave me that. Again, not even close to what I uploaded. I don't remember I uploaded that. So
they're the same.
Huh?
They're the same.
I know darn well if I asked it, I only have a 1-story building. Can you just show me 1-story building? It will always show me 2 stories, because I've done that a bunch of times, and it's just like, okay, never mind. I just pick what I can out of it, and maybe I like the colors or something like that. So take it with a grain of salt. I don't think chat's programmed to take and do that kind of stuff for us.
No.
that easily. But it is giving me ideas, and I like that. So I've used that on different projects where it's just like, God, what kind of colors or what kind of different textures, materials could I use on this building, and what it might look like? And rather than searching through, what's that house website or going online and searching pictures, I just do this, and yeah, I get some ideas. So kind of fun. But I use it for a lot of other things. I mean, and it'll store all the things that you're working with, and it's just a great way to have a conversation with yourself and get that actually a real-time conversation with somebody, and works well. So I just wanted to show that.
There's the newest version of Midjourneys. Yeah, does all right.
Yeah,
there's some
cool.
ideas in there.
Yeah.
I'll show.
That's what I was trying to do a chat, and it wouldn't do it. So
yeah, show a couple things.
How much is Midjourney?
What's that?
How much is Midjourney?
Boy, I don't know. It's been a while. I posted something the other day on my own personal group, which was all my subscriptions that I'm paying for.
I saw that.
and I'm missing like 6 more. So
I'm looking at mine too, and I went, "Oh boy,
yeah, time to start cutting them down." Right?
Yeah, no house cleaning. Although I use all mine that I subscribe to.
Yeah, I kind of do. I don't always use them very frequently. One of them I pay $20 a month for, and I maybe use it 5 times a year. So
yeah,
but when I want to use it, I want to use it. So
yeah.
I have custom GPTs in ChatGPT, and I haven't rewritten these to take advantage of the new chat with code thing. So in case you're doing kind of scripting or something, but one of them is that I'm making trees and plants from my software. So I have an instruction set to specifically spit out information when I give it a generic tree name to give me all the things I need in the order that I need them to input that data back into Chief, so that I'm properly classifying plants. So that's one custom GPT. I've got a GPT built to give me inline scripting in Chief Architect, because inline scripting, that means inside of a DataBox window in Chief, is very different from its scripting in the macro management console. So I have one that's trained on either end of that. Building code interpreter, natural email responder, which I've gone over this in the past, which is that my instruction set basically says I'm always responding to an email. I'm never sending out an email. My first sentence is always very casual, and I paraphrase and I skip prepositions, and basically I'm a grammatic dummy. And then I improve my language over time. It does that for me. Social summary, I can kind of say, hey, I just want to write a post on Facebook. Can you spark this up a little bit and try not to make it too overtly cheesy and use sensational words? Don't do that. I don't like the sensational words thing. So stuff like that, that's what's built into my GPT. I will show Zapier because it's a big part of my business. I run, e-commerce, so part of this is going to be geared toward that and not be applicable to everybody. But Zapier now has bots that can be chat bots that pop up on your website, and that's kind of helpful. So, and I'll just do a little plug for myself here, which is in my resources section. I now have a whole page dedicated to scripting if you want to script for Chief Architect and try this out. And I have a little guide on the right that expands. But this Kevin bot right here is built from Zapier. So this is now an integration into my website from Zapier. And that takes on instruction sets. And then other things I do with Zapier, in case you don't know what Zapier is, you can take, there are thousands of applications in the world that can integrate with each other. And what it's doing is I think it's doing a webhook is what it's called, and you can look that up. But say I send an email to a client. If I have my email connected and authorized through Zapier, Zapier could say, hey, when I send an email to a client, put a reminder back in my calendar a week from the day I sent it to say, check up on that email. Something like that, right? So something I have going on is when someone purchases an item from my shop, it automatically gives them access to a forum, which is a different application. All right, so that's something. When someone reaches out to me through email, through my website, it puts them through a call screening log. So now they can call me and I will get it. Not only that, but they'll already be in my phone with their name, number, and notes. So a couple different use cases for this. I know people that use this to generate a bunch of things on business side when you're an interior designer and you've got a lot of back and forth and a lot of intake and outgoing messages and data's coming in from everywhere. You can build a data aggregator similar to what the application Cell does, where if you somehow linked some kind of like WhatsApp or something like that, where you're communicating with a client, but you're also getting emails and you're also getting Facebook Messenger, build an aggregator out of Zapier where it's kind of aggregating this into one location where you can read it all. So
There you go,
similar to what John said earlier.
That's what I was asking for.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna do text messages too?
If you're using an application that has an open text message thing, like you're not going to be able to use iMessages.
Okay.
But WhatsApp, does WhatsApp have an interface?
WhatsApp, I'm pretty sure you can figure out how to do WhatsApp. I haven't tried it yet. Maybe I'll go do that next week we get off the call.
Along those lines, actually more along the lines of, for instance, the designer that's gathering information, and there's always a constant flow in or out of said designer's brain, like mine. One of the things that always bugs me is that I have a thought of something and I think I should do that today. So because it's today, I just put it on my calendar for 2:00, and I don't care if there's conflicts or anything else. I'll just throw it out there, put it on the calendar so I don't forget to do it, right? Then later, I realized that I forgot to do something that was on my task list, my to-do list, that I probably should have done today, but I didn't because it wasn't visible. So I use Zapier to migrate things between my task list and my calendar. So it doesn't matter which place I put it, I can force it to the other location. That means that I can take something that I threw on the calendar at 2:00, push it out to a later date and just put it on my to-do list because I didn't get to it anyway. Or I can take things from my to-do list and say, ooh, I really need to get that one done. I'm going to put that on tomorrow at 3:00 and I can move it to the events. There's no interface that I have found between any calendar and task system that allows you to do that. The only way that I've found that you could do that is by using an automator like Zapier. So even though I don't view Zapier as artificial intelligence, it's more of a process tool. It does appear like artificial intelligence. It's that things magically happen. For instance, if I move something from my task list to my calendar, I don't want it still to be on my task list, and vice versa. If I change my mind and want to put it back, I want it gone from that source. I want them to migrate, not just copy. So the idea that tools can copy things and then I can go back and delete them, yeah, by the time I go back and delete it, I've forgotten I was supposed to. So I can use those automation tools to do that for me. And all I do is change the first character in the subject from, using any kind of glyph that I find representative. So I use an exclamation point to indicate confirmed and a question mark to indicate unconfirmed. I use a big X or a glyph. A glyph X, a glyph check mark, or a glyph circle to indicate the status of something. And by using the automator, it recognizes that first character and acts on that. So it'll move it from one place to the other. Another application.
Here's a little application that I use once in a while. Show my screen here.
Got it.
Got it. All right. So I'll get plans from people, and it's just like, okay, install. Every sentence starts with the word install. It's like, come on. Plus, there's a bunch of mistakes throughout this text. So what I do is I take that, I just print this as a PDF, and then I go over to my chat, and I just upload the PDF, and I say, please rewrite the text on this page, and I'm supposed to get rid of the word install, but it understood it while correcting mistakes, improving grammar, and I hit OK, and here's my new list of that. It's going to describe things better. Now I can just copy and paste that back into the plan that I'm working on. So, think about using this, when you're doing your specifications, you're doing, whatever you're writing. Is a nice way to just check what you're writing and then copy and paste it back in. So, or if you're doing a Word doc or something like that, you can do that too. I use a program called Grammarly too, quite a bit, which can do a lot of the same thing. And that works really well too. But I think you wouldn't need the subscription-based model to do this. You could do the free GPT-4, I think it's now.
Yeah.
So I'm using it's the minis, Preview and Mini. I'm using the 4. So that's what you pay the $20 for.
I think everybody's got 4 of them now.
Is that what it is now? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So I use what I got and I don't pay much attention to it. So there's a good use for that with working on your plans. So
Does it help to say please?
It depends on how pissed off you want it to get.
yeah, exactly. I always say please. I mean, why not? I think it likes that sometimes. Plus, it's just a nice way to write.
I do tend to use it very conversationally, so I type it the same way I would talk to someone.
This is a great question by Norman. Can reliance on any AI be detrimental? I think
Yes.
there are some systems and procedures that we use pre-AI that are superior to current options in AI. I think of AI as a tool. It's just going to help me save a little time, maybe come up with some different ideas, better ideas. Can it be detrimental? I don't know.
The black and white answer is yes. But then again, so has every bit of progress ever done since the dawn of man. So
I mean, is an air nailer detrimental to framing a building?
right. Well, it's detrimental in the craftsman ability to use a hammer, so things do change, things change. And what I've seen is that the use of AI is providing more positive impact than it is negative. Yes, people may be forgetting how to write good prose, but they're able to communicate better to the people around them. So, there's
I do a lot of writing, so I didn't pay much attention to writing in school. So I write like I talk, and most of the time that's okay. But I love it when I can go to Grammarly or chat and say, hey, can you rearrange this a little bit, fix this for me? And then I reread what I take, and then I'll correct what I want to say differently. I think that's just fun. I think it's just a nice tool to help me say what I want to say a little clearer and, more grammarly correct, punctuated correctly. So I don't know. I like it. It's fun. I don't know if fun's the right
Dan,
word.
you just gave me an idea while you were talking there.
Okay.
And
Look out, the Rabs here are lighting up.
And so I just dropped in an old from 2022, an old PDF of a finished document that I had, which is a finished construction drawing, and just said check it for potential errors. It came up with stuff, and then I said, specifically, were there any lines that need to get addressed? And I mean, it's coming up with stuff. I'm kind of double checking.
That's green. What correct?
Well, it's referencing the PDF back in the green, but
okay. Got it.
For instance, it's saying in the safety glazing standards section, the line on quote unquote glazing and enclosure for or walls facing hot tubs could be clarified to ensure it's understand to mint.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing an all right job.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
So those kind of things could help limit your liability in your design, in your projects.
Yeah, so, I got to go fix my standards.
That's a good thing, because next time you use them, it'll be done.
Yeah. That's great. That's what I mean, though. It is a tool that will help your ability to communicate, even though you may forget how to write yourself. So it's an advancement.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like one of my codes my macros might be wrong because it's showing, a space after the 4'8". Who knows? But it also has to do like a PDF to text somehow to even be able to read it and process it, which isn't always perfect as well. But
Speaking of which, John, to answer your question, while Rene was going through his list, I was trying things to see whether I could get it to read sources using, including things like chat streams and messages, email, whatever else. And it can't. But what it did do is it gave me ideas that said, if you use, again, I'm on the Mac, so I'm sure Windows has a tool like this too, but on the Mac, it's called Spotlight. If you use Spotlight and you just search across your entire Mac for certain things it's looking for, then you can take that resulting list and use items out of that list as input, or generate the list as your document. So there's kind of workarounds to do it, but there's no direct interface to be able to search those things.
And I kind of knew there was nothing out there that was already doing that. So my question was, is there an something AI that would help me build what I want it to do?
I wonder if we take those two concepts of the automator and your desire and look at those like, okay, well, if AI can't get there directly, can you use an automator to extract information so that you don't have to? You were talking about,
Right.
but I don't want to consolidate it. Use an automator to consolidate the information and then feed that information.
I'm fine if it's consolidated. I just don't want to be the one to be copying and pasting.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Maybe the automator.
Sometimes I get a text and I'm not in a place where I can do that. Right.
No. Right.
So
this, by the way, you all, and I know we tend to preach this stuff, but when we're at the summit, these are the kinds of conversations we have after dinner, sitting around staring at a fire or something, and we're starting to go, well, wait a minute, but what if you did this? And how about that? And, well, let's do this. And then suddenly Rene jumps up and runs over to his computer and things start happening. So, but it really is fun to sit around and hack out ideas and plant new seeds for how we can accomplish things.
Here's a little, I'll check this out, Scott. Thanks for sharing that.
Can I say something about that too when you're done?
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, I'll check it out and share it with everybody.
I was on early beta stuff for various different extensions, Chrome extensions for ChatGPT, mainly because their code block window back in the day was really, really small. And so you couldn't even read it without scrolling left to right. And it just broke up the thought process. So I went and found some extensions. I support them. I'm on their Discord servers. And they do have folder organization, which is very cool. The only problem with those extensions is that ChatGPT actually puts out a lot of updates. And it's really hard on the developer side to keep up with the updates, especially when they're underfunded and they're just giving you an extension that's a passion project.
That's why you don't want to write that app, John.
Yeah.
that's why I do or I don't.
That's why you don't want to write an app.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it would just be for me.
That's why you don't want to write an app. The absolute hardest, longest time it takes to write an app is the first one, and it's only going to benefit you. You don't even get any return on your investment. Don't write the app.
Yeah. There's one called.
I was wondering if AI would do it.
There's an extension called Superpower GPT, and they've been around for a long time, and they really do try to keep up with it, and they do a pretty good job. And sometimes I turn that extension on, and it adds some cool stuff like the folder integration. The other thing I do is sometimes I actually go into developer mode in Chrome and pick out the chat window and force it to be wider, because I don't know, for some reason I can't see it if it's a narrow format on a really wide screen.
I've got
Mike,
a question for Scott Wise. Hey,
go
Scott, so you're saying, you're talking about the search capability that ChatGPT introduced this week, right? And so you're saying they added search finally, and that makes it easier, much easier, you said, to find your related chat topics and organize them into project folders. Because I haven't yet explored that and we've got your attention, how? How are you doing that? Give us a quick pointer that points us to something we can look at on here.
And while he's doing that, let me just show you our good buddy Mike M, who's always on our shows, except he's out framing stairs in the rain today.
What are you
John,
doing that for?
can you show my screen? Here, I'll get it.
He lives in the Pacific Northwest,
There
right?
it is.
He's always in the rain.
Always in
Yeah.
rain.
So he's just saying, yep, before I went to the job, I did this. So he drew up exactly what he was going to build, dimensioned the heck out of it. I don't know if he pre-cut things or not to go out there, but just, I do a lot of this kind of stuff myself when I'm working on projects, just so I know I'm getting everything in the right place, the right dimensions, everything. So yeah, this is kind of near and dear to my heart. Nice job, Mike. So I said, okay, let's go to chat. And I just said, is this the right way to draw stairs? And I uploaded that PDF, and it gave me a list of, the provided cut sheet, documents, dimensions, and it just gave some tips. I mean, it didn't say yes or no, that's the right way to draw it, but I was just having some fun. And then, do you have any suggestions to make stair building easier? Yeah, use a stair calculator, pre-cut stringers, layout. So sometimes you'll get a little a juicy tidbit in this kind of feedback. Oh yeah, one of those things. Not that I got in on this one, but try it. It's just cool.
Yeah, I know
It's just another way to talk and get ideas for what you're working on.
Oh, there it is. Scott did add something. What's he say? Go up 3.
Go up 3. This is the link that he gave us.
I didn't see that link.
Yeah.
It's this one
So
right
it's
here.
an app.
That's his response to your question.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any of that stuff. So
Thank you.
I'll check out what he loaded there. And again, speaking of the summit, as Kevin was doing before, if you go over to Chief Experts Academy, there's still space available. And it's the first thing here, just learn more about our summit. If you're considering going, you probably don't want to wait too much longer. We are filling up. And if you scroll down, there's a ton of information on this page. So if you're serious and you want to learn more about it, please go here and watch some of the videos, read the comment, the text and stuff, or give me a call. I'd be happy to discuss it with you. But if we get down to the bottom here, we'll see we got 3 rooms left on the main level. We got a couple of shared room available here, and everything else is full. And then our second house, we've got some space available. So we do cut it off at about 34 people. So if you're thinking about it, please let me know. I'd be happy to hold the spot for you if you need a little time, or if you just want to talk about it, let me know. So it's coming up fast, and we're really looking forward to it. We've got some new things coming this year that we're going to have a lot of fun with, and AI will be a part of that. So if you have any questions, you know where to reach me. What else you guys?
Rene,
Or John, or Kevin, or Rene, or Robin, who isn't here today. Cool. What else we got?
5 minutes. You got to fill the air.
What did I think of? Was talking about?
Primitive AI.
Yeah, I'm
Turn my
checking that
camera
out.
off.
Oh, so one of the things that I wanted to pursue, because I figured it'd come up in this conversation, is how secure are our futures? How secure is the future of those of us who do architectural design, interior design, building, construction documents, whatever it might be. And so I kind of was chasing around to see whether there's anything new and different out there that was going to blow me away.
Is that what that big glass ball was you had out the other day?
Yes. Yeah. And so what I found was that there's still nothing out there that satisfies that path all the way from concept to completion. There are things that are getting better at generating pieces of components of that workflow. But as Rene has yelled since the beginning since somebody spelled AI, is that it's just a tool. It will help you. It won't replace you. And that
Right.
Dan has said the same thing. That continues to be true. However, the one thing that I'd say is embrace it, because AI is a part of our lives and is not going to change.
Yeah.
So embrace it, figure out how to use it, but it is a tool.
It is a tool. And, on that line too, you make yourself a better designer, a better communicator, a better salesperson. Learn those things, if you take professional sales classes, it'll help you become a better communicator, especially in the design business. If you know how to sell stuff, you'll know how to ask clients the right questions in that design process, because that's really what we do all day long is we ask questions. And when you're working personally with a client on their project and they have you to communicate with and you're asking the right questions to pull the information out of their brains, AI is not going to replace that in my estimation. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think we're going to be just fine. So, until AI can make a robot that can build a house, I think we're okay there too.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, have you seen the really incredible advancements in the what do you call it, 3D printing of the houses?
Yeah.
I saw one the other day. I was just shocked at how cool it's getting. These giant cranes that are building pretty large structures. With all the
They've got
wall
some that are like the big single arm ones that are
yes,
just
yeah,
fully articulating. Yeah,
yeah.
I've had conversations with someone that's working with that.
And it's instead of it being a big blob and looks like somebody put together Play-Doh, these things are sort of drawing like horizontal trusses that are stacked up in just the thickness of the bead of the goo that they're putting down, and they give you room to do everything from wiring to piping to insulation to everything else. Pretty cool stuff.
Someone just asked a question. Didn't I see that? What is this? Find the repetitive task of placing them while setting up interior elevations. The repetitive task of placing them onto layout sheets rather time consuming. Is there an AI-driven solution? No, there's a programmatic solution to that.
Yeah.
Which is, so I guess I can, what do we have, 2 minutes?
You got a couple minutes. You can show how to replace, how to add views to your pages. There are techniques you can use in Chief that do make it easier. I mean, it's still, if you got a good model and you got everything right, bottom line in my world now is I create all my views and then I go add them to the layout by just changing what's in the viewport. I copy the viewport, change what's in it, copy the view, change what's in it. So I'm not going back and forth to the project all the time.
There's a number of ways you can do that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So from that point of view, Chief's done a great job. Go ahead and show away, Rene.
We're waiting on it.
Depending on how standardized your drawings are or your views are.
It's important that you learn to use the project browser to make this happen. So if you're not using the project browser,
or not, yeah, I agree. I'm with Rene on that one.
I use it big time these days.
Yeah.
So, I use it for everything.
I send a view to layout here, and then, oh man, some squirrel is having fun on my roof. And now I'm going to copy paste it. This is a layout box. So this is what Dan, you call a viewport.
I call it a viewport. Yeah.
So
viewport box.
Layout box. I copy paste it, drag up my copy, and then I'm going to use the relink layout box. I'm going to link it to some other elevation. And this other elevation might not be centered on that viewport layout box. So if I want it to auto center, I could uncheck this and it's going to figure out how to recenter that view. And it's going to take a second. It's going to give me a warning dialog box on the side here. But there you go.
That's the basic idea.
Right.
And it will save you a ton of time.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. And you can get this done early on in your project phase. And of course, all those layout viewport boxes will update automatically as you change your plan.
The other thing that happens when you're copying the viewports or layout boxes is you don't have to go and relabel it. You don't have to tell it what you want the label to be because it's already there.
Right. Or you can customize it too at any time.
Right.
All right,
if
so
you want to speed up the process of this, by the way, is I just sent this view and I turned off patterns first. And now it's not creating all those extra vector lines
Yeah.
so that I can go and pick something else, and it will speed up that relinking process just a little bit, a few seconds, and then go in and toggle patterns again and update the view later on once you've kind of established how everything's going to line up.
yeah,
And
The
then my last
old-
note about this is I like using plot lines
Yeah.
first. Even if you want a live view at the end, I like using plot lines specifically because we can do a point to point on any of these vector lines so that I can line up elements. And that
Yeah.
makes a difference to me.
That's a good
So
point,
I can
yeah.
actually snap this landscape to this landscape here and know that these are lined up,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good.
and then switch it to live if you want.
So back to, not sure who this is, but the early days, I harped on never sending a planned layout more than once. And that's so true. We'll keep harping on that because that's true now more than ever. It used to be the plan view, the floor plans, you never send more than once. Now it's any view. You send one view to layout, and you can then just use this process. Or you could even have cameras saved in your template and those views ports boxes saved
Just
on the
populate,
layout. And they'll update automatically. And then you just make a few adjustments here and there, and that works really well too. So there are ways to make this a lot faster. I also do the other thing I harp on all the time is never draw anything more than half of anything in your plan. So make sure you use the reflect about to make mirrored copies of your things.
I was working with
You wanna
someone the
tackle that,
other day.
Renee?
Right, what did
You want to
Ken?
send 4 internal room elevations to layout?
Oh, that's
So
going
it
to take a
works
little more
well.
time than we've got.
Yeah, we're done here. So
It'd be like another 10 minutes.
for internal. Oh, well, yeah, you could just click on a room and drop 4 cameras in all at once.
That's that one where I have a macro in the plan view name,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it automatically relabels them all.
The other thing is if you can click on multiple elevation cameras, and you will see a send to layout button on the edit toolbar, and it will send those one after the other to the layout page. So that's another way to do it. But I still like the update viewport method better. Kevin, you were saying something, I think.
Oh, I was just talking about the surprise of the tools, the philosophies that hold over time, and to keep remembering and reflect about. I was working with somebody the other day that's been using Chief for probably 5 years and had not known about the reflect tool. That was an eye opener.
That was a big one, huh?
Yeah.
I
I
use
just
that
saved him.
tool thousands of times a day.
Yeah. Right.
I set up a keystroke RA, reflect about. So
Yeah.
when I want to make a copy of something, I hit Control C, RA, hit the center point, done. So I've made my Control C the keystroke for that too. So, all right, you guys, we're done for the day. Thanks for being here, and everybody on the call, thanks for being here. Reach out if you have questions. We're all here to help you and what we do. So, see you guys. See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye now.